The president has taken a step back from a crisis that he provoked, a crisis that he caused, and it seems like maybe it's a rare recognition on his part that when a president speaks and a president acts, they speak and they act on behalf of the American people, not on their own behalf. And the American people could not stand the idea that this country would do what it did to these kids in their name, could not stand the idea that the whole world would see the separation of children from their parents on the southern border of the United States of America, perpetrated by our own government. And finally, probably for the first time ever, this president relented to the values that the American people share, whether they're conservatives or whether they're liberals or something in between that. And that's a reason to say, I'm glad we're moving in that direction. And maybe another good thing will come out of this, which is that the people who stood up, who worked for this administration and defended this terrible, inhumane policy in the name of the law and in the name of religion, the Bible, might think harder the next time they do that at a moment of conscience like this one. As my colleagues have said, it's not clear tonight what's in the policy. I want to quote from the New York Times article on the front page of the paper tonight. It says, and a Health and Human Services official said that more than 2,300 children who have already been separated from their parents under the president's zero-tolerance policy will not be immediately reunited with their families while the adults remain in federal custody during their immigration proceedings. Quote, there will not be a grandfathering of existing cases, said Kenneth Wolf, a spokesman for the Administration of Children and Families, a division of the Department of Health and Human Services. Mr. Wolf said the decision about the children was made by the White House, but he added, quote, I can tell you definitively that is going to be policy. So what are they saying? The current kids aren't going to be grandfathered? The current kids that have been on the TV this whole week and the week before are not going to have the benefit of this executive order? Mr. President, I'd ask to admit this article into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. The headline of the article is Trump retreats on separating families, but thousands will remain apart. We need to know, and that obviously isn't going to be acceptable to the American people if that's the way it is. The last point I want to make tonight, because I know I've got other colleagues here, is that it does not help matters when the president is completely allergic to the truth on any dimension, but especially this one. And today at the White House, in front of all the cameras, in front of all, the Republicans that he invited there, he didn't invite any Democrats there, this is what he said, lamenting the fact that he couldn't do a deal with Democrats. We're having a lot of problems with Democrats. This is the president, I'm quoting. They don't care about lack of security. They would like to have open borders where anybody in the world can just flow in, including from the Middle East, from anybody, anywhere. They can just flow into our country. Tremendous problems with that. Tremendous crime caused by that. We're just not going to do it. This is what he says is our position. Mr. President, I, as you know, was on the Gang of Eight in 2013 that negotiated what was called the Border Security, Economic Opportunity, and Immigration Enforcement Act of 2013. The first two words in that title are border security. It got 68 votes on this floor. Every single Democrat voted for it. And I want the American people to know what's in it, because they'll never hear from the president what was in it. $46 billion for border enforcement. $30 billion to hire and deploy nearly 20,000 new Border Patrol agents, doubling the total number. We doubled the number of Border Patrol agents. $8 billion for a fence along the southern border at least 700 miles long. $4.5 billion for new surveillance technologies, including air and marine surveillance, so we could see every inch of the border, so we'd know what was happening there. $2 billion to enact recommendations of a newly established Southern Border Security Commission, $750 million to expand E-Verify, remaining $1.5 billion for administrative costs to departments, state, labor, agriculture, and justice. That is the border security bill that we passed in 2013. That is the border security bill that we should pass today. And the only reason that it is not the law of the land today is because the House would not let it come to a vote. Had they let it come to a vote, had the Speaker allowed it to come to a vote, it would have passed. So I think collectively we should go back to that work and see if we can't actually solve the problem rather than just play politics with it. In the case of what we've just seen, play politics with the lives of the children on the southern border. With that, Mr. President, I yield the floor.